So we're here with Miss Venetia, otherwise known as V, or on Instagram, Supercars V. So cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for
Welcome
having
to the
me.
podcast.
Thank you.
So this is our second official podcast. The first one was a pilot with my friend DeAndre. Second one was with Grant Van Brewer, who
I
worked
saw that.
at Motor Car Collections and ended up at Porsche up north. But yeah, tell us a little bit about you. So I got you here because obviously I've spoken to a lot of people in the industry. Anytime I bring up your name, they know who you are, and it automatically goes into a conversation of that chick knows how to sell cars. You know what I mean? Like I don't, and I say the same thing every time I'm around people. I'm like, dude, I don't know how she does it. She just knows your way around conversations, and you know how to take a deal from point A to point Z. You know, and that's what it takes.
I don't, I'll be honest with you. I don't know a lot about cars. I'm learning. I've only
Mm-hmm.
been selling for about 2 years. However, I did have a strong sales
Wait, only
background.
2 years
About 2 years, maybe going on
in the
three.
car business?
Yeah, 2 years retail and maybe the last year plus wholesaling.
Okay.
Um, but it's the skill of sales.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're a salesperson, of course, your network is your net worth. So once you've established that, it's the sale. If you can sell, someone puts a product in front of you, any big ticket item.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if That's why I think sales is a major asset to have. You have to be able to navigate with different types of clients, from college kids to C-level executives, ball players. I've been exposed to so much in this business,
Mm-hmm.
but it really comes down to, can you sell? Can you sell me a pencil?
So let's talk about this real quick. So obviously, anything in the car industry online is predominantly, you know, a manly kind of men's demographic, but women are coming up really quickly. I've always said in almost every podcast that I've shot that women that get into sales kill it, and they absolutely crush some of the men that have even been there for years, right? So I want to dive in a bit from the very beginning, right? Like who you are. I know you're Greek, you're proud, and
Yes.
anybody that's Greek watching out there, you definitely have to follow her on Supercars V on Instagram. But anyways, I always call her Malaka.
Yes,
She
that's
always
the
calls me
universal greeting
Malaka.
of love. Yeah. So,
Exactly. So tell us about like how you ended up in Atlanta. What were you selling before, and how did you get into the car business?
all right. So, I lived many years overseas with Lockheed Martin. I ended up coming here from India. I was in India for 3 years and we relocated to Dobbins.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what brought me here. I'm a Philly native, always been a Yankee, so it was definitely a big change. Started working here, ended up, I was a private client banker for Chase. Then I ended up working retail a little bit at Saks,
Okay.
where that's where I met one of the managers at a car dealership, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come work for me?"
You
Um,
met a manager at a car dealership from working at Saks.
Correct.
Okay.
So it was one of the managers from Atlanta Autos,
Why did you
which
leave banking and go to Saks?
um, I don't know. I get bored very easily. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
person that probably changes a job when I was in corporate or every couple years. I can't stay stagnant. So that was kind of getting not enough for me. So I wanted to do something new.
So you think that was more your sign to that corporate life wasn't for
Oh
you?
yeah, I was
Yeah,
done with corporate.
I had that phase.
It was done. I don't like that people box you in and say, okay, you're only as good as 150,000 a year. Like I don't want that restriction. I know I
Right.
can do better. And sales, especially when it's 100% commission,
Yeah.
as risky as it is extremely lucrative. So I decided to just take the risk, go away from 401ks, PTO, paid vacations,
Mm-hmm.
and say, you know what, I'm going to take a chance. And I eat what I kill, literally. If I don't sell a car, I'm not eating. And that's the risk you take.
But that's what's so unique about every single day that you wake up.
Oh, I know. You don't
Because
know. I
every
don't
day
know
is
what I'm
not.
getting on my phone in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. Every day, the day that you're about to have is never the same as the one before.
ever.
And I love that.
No two deals are the same.
Right.
Um, it's just every single time it's something new. You don't have this cookie cutter of this is the process. It's
Right.
never the same. It's
Yeah.
never the same. And I like that.
So Saks Fifth, were
Saks
you in a
Fifth.
certain department in
No,
Saks
I
Fifth?
was in sales. So after I
And
left
this was in
there,
Atlanta, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah, in
Philly?
Atlanta.
Okay, in Atlanta. Okay.
So I left there and I said, you know what? I went to the dealership. I looked around. If you're from Atlanta, like you are,
Mhm.
everyone knows Atlanta Autos.
Yeah.
It is such a unique dealership that you can be
100%.
exposed to so many different brands. Their clients, they're just a force here in Atlanta.
They are.
So I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity to work there and begin my career there.
Mhm.
As hard as it was for a woman going in there, my guys were my protectors, comrades. I couldn't have asked for anything better, and still in touch with them. Like in a minute,
Yeah.
I can send a text, and anyone who I came in contact, aside from the owners, but my coworkers as well.
Mhm.
It was a whole family feeling. And once you start in such a beautiful, friendly environment and fun,
Yeah.
it keeps you there. It keeps you motivated. I want to sell more. I
100%.
want to do more. So I was very fortunate where I started. If
Yeah.
I started selling cars, let's say in a brand dealership, I would be bored. I would have dropped off.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's how I met you.
Yeah.
You came in, you had a client looking at a C8
Yeah.
in my showroom, and that's how we met. And, real sees real. And since then, we've connected and worked on multiple projects.
Yeah.
But it all has to, I believe it all begins with you're a product of your environment. I started there.
Mhm.
And from there.
So the manager from Atlanta Autos
Yes.
approached you at Saks
Yes.
Fifth, or were you just like facilitating
No.
the transaction?
I don't know. I guess I rung him up, or I don't remember, but I remember him at the door and he's like, come work for me.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, and just for those that don't know, I was at Audi Atlanta, and a really good client of mine that bought an RSQ8 from me. He was looking online and he saw that car at Atlanta Autos, and I have a good relationship with the owner of Atlanta Autos. He's a great family friend of mine, and I hit him up and I said, "Hey, who's your top salesperson that I can, make this deal happen with?" And he told me V, and that's how we met.
And the deal didn't even happen.
The deal didn't even happen.
It doesn't, but that's another caveat in this business.
Yeah.
You meet so many like-minded people when you have a professional broker or salesperson that this is what we do.
Right.
This is how we feed our family. This is how you're making your dreams come to fruition.
Mhm.
We have such a respect for each other.
100%.
It's this camaraderie that is just because it's such an aggressive occupation. I mean, everyone's a shark.
No, I'm a big believer in frequencies, and I think that when you meet someone in the car industry, you can very quickly find out what frequency they're on.
Absolutely.
And then if they're on the same frequency as you in terms of how they carry themselves, the credibility that they strive to have, things like that, then you automatically know very quickly. So it's interesting because I was able to find that out. Even though that deal didn't happen, as we attempted to make the deal happen, I was able to learn who V was, and that's how we've still stayed in touch after what, 2? No, it's been longer than
couple
that.
years, at least 3. I guess it
3
was
to
when I
4
first
years
started
now.
there. Yeah. And we've got this organic relationship. It's just understood. Like, I see you, you see me, you know what we do.
Yeah.
So it could be a random text in the middle of the day. Hey, I'm looking for an F8 Ferrari.
Yep.
This is my budget. This is what I need. We start sending out our feelers. I start sending him what I have. This is all day in this lifestyle.
Mhm.
This is what we do. All day long, we're texting. Pictures. Do you want this? Do you want that? What are you looking for? But when you find someone that can appreciate it and he knows what he's doing, it's just a rush. I can't even explain it.
So why do you think you got into cars, right? Like it's not like the first industry that women think of even getting into or at all.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you think you? And were you even big into cars before you got started into it, or you're just like, I'm gonna give this a shot?
Not at all. I didn't know anything about cars. I wasn't.
But you
big.
were always into like the luxury lifestyle. That's how you end up at Saks.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like nice cars, or who doesn't? But you're dealing with a lot of money. I mean, people are entrusting you, so you kind of have to know what you're doing. And I was in the beginning, I was very intimidated.
Okay.
because I didn't know anything. So I just started learning, like YouTube, believe it or not, Facebook is just such a plethora of information.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. That's a big one. But um, it's all about, for me, and it might sound strange, but I feel like everyone has a purpose. And I feel like my purpose is to serve people. So to have that honor to make someone's dream come true, even if it's, it could be a $10,000 hoopty or a $500,000, Cullinan. It's the same thing. It has the same effect. So to be able to facilitate that, and get someone where they want to be,
That's
the feeling.
exactly
It's
how
like
I
the
feel.
best feeling.
It's the best feeling.
It really is.
Yeah, and that's what I'm so interested about, right? So so back to the point of, okay, so you were at Atlanta Autos, right? And how long were you there?
I think I was there about a year and a half, and then I went to Land Rover here in Georgia.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Hennessy.
I was with Hennessy for about a year.
Okay.
And then I went back to Atlanta Autos. Atlanta Autos is just, it's in your blood. You just can't. So I ended up going back there. I did not really like the retail space. For me, it wasn't, I'm a lot more high frequency, a lot more action, whereas in a retail store,
she felt boxed in.
It's like,
already know.
Yeah, it's like 30 calls, 99 emails, 45 texts. That's just not me. Yeah. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's definitely not something that I want to pursue, and I don't like chasing people.
No, yeah, and I think in the car industry you kind of find your spot too over time, right? Like you figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And some of the other podcasts that I was talking about, we kind of dove in a little bit about, someone that's watching out there, right? That wants to get into the car business. And especially, you're the first woman that I've had on the podcast. And granted, it's like, the third episode, but you are the first.
Thank you.
And it's just what we were talking about was, what are the best ways and strategies to get into the industry and how to get involved into the industry. And then we just tapped in a little bit into, how you kind of find your pocket. What I was saying in the other podcasts, which was advice that was given to me by a mentor of mine at Eurocar in Orange County, which is a huge pre-owned exotic car dealer. He told me go to a franchise store like a manufacturer, and you can kind of get a good foundation of training and understanding
finance,
about the finance side, everything, leasing as well, which is huge. So I think that's a good way to do it, but V went completely a different direction.
Yeah,
she was just like,
I jumped off a cliff.
Here's your phone. When that phone rings,
sell a car.
Happen.
Yeah, there's different. It's like you said, you have to find where you feel comfortable and what's vibing with you.
Yeah.
I mean, brand stores, retail stores, they're more volume. You're going to move a lot more cars. Where when you get into exotics, it's a more specialized deal, a lot more money involved. You get into escrow accounts and LLCs. So it's a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
When you're getting into exotics, more so because of the price. So I was more about moving, one of one or special units than
at Atlanta Autos.
Well, no, at Atlanta, but in general. But Atlanta Autos, like I told you, it exposed me to so many brands that I knew nothing about, and I was able to sit in it, feel it, read about it, watch videos. It
gave you an excuse to learn about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my clients loved it because they could come and see any brand. What do you want to see? A Bentley, a Rolls, a Ferrari, a Lambo, a Chiron. Like, we have everything. So
clean cars.
Right. So decide, going back to someone who wants to get in the business, decide where you want to be. All these young kids used to come in, I'm going to sell Lamborghinis. It's not that easy.
It's not that easy.
And, so you kind of have to figure out your spot, build from there. Absolutely. But be absolutely comfortable where you begin, because that's where you're either going to, go from zero to hero.
Yeah.
If you don't apply yourself in a retail store and learn, because you have to learn insurance, finance, different things that,
because Atlanta Autos poses a unique opportunity because they have all the different brands in the pre-owned, right? So if someone's like, I don't know if I want to go between BMW or Mercedes. Well, boom, you got both of them sitting right there,
Absolutely.
right? And that gives you an opportunity to learn very quickly about all the different brands too. So, what was like the biggest learning lesson for you going from Atlanta Autos to Land Rover and then back? Like, what was it that, what were like the pros and cons, or like the pros that you learned through that whole process?
So the pros of working at a retail store, there's different things. Um, because it's a 100% commission based business, when you go to a store, they'll give you a stipend. It might be $700 or $800, which at the end of the month you pay that back. So you've got a little
Like a
money.
draw.
Correct, like a draw. Most all stores offer that when you go to a brand. That's one thing for someone just getting into the business. And you know what? You've got bills to pay. I understand you can't wait till the end of the month. That didn't draw me there, but I think it's definitely a plus for someone just starting.
Yeah, a little stability.
Of course. Plus the stellar training. You have different training when you go to brands. They absolutely want you to know everything about their car, everything that it could do. And I think that's great. With Land Rover, I was fortunate enough to drive the new Range Rovers in the desert in Las Vegas. I mean,
that's crazy.
I was, so that's amazing. Those are things you can get when you go to brands.
Right.
Plus, you have the security of sick days, insurance if you want.
Slightly corporate.
There's a safety net, but it comes at a cost because you're not risking what you risk when you would say, you know what, I'm going to work for myself and I'm going to start brokering cars.
Okay.
So I still decided that the other side was better just to be on my own.
Yeah. To be on your own, like to go, you mean the other side was better, meaning Atlanta Autos or what?
Well, Atlanta Autos is definitely better than a brand. Again, learning that, you know what, I have more exposure, more brands, and I'm learning more over there because there were a lot of different also structures of deals. I had more clients. I had clients come in that were vets that bought cars tax free. I had clients that came in that were first time buyers. Those unique clients you may not see in a brand store.
I see.
So I still feel that it was to my advantage to be at Atlanta Autos because it taught me so much more.
It's not only variety of different brands, but variety of different clients
and different situations and trying to help them. Okay, you didn't get approved here. Let's see if we can do this, or let's try another lender. Whereas I feel like it's a cookie cutter process at a brand.
That's
so that's what I felt. And I don't like to be.
And they probably had a lot of flexibility when it came to the financing at Atlanta Autos.
Of course, we have more lenders. Usually at a brand, they want to push with their own brand. If it's, let's say, Mercedes or Land Rover Finance, whereas, someone can come in and it's not frowned upon if you walk in with like a check from Navy Fed, like it's welcomed at other dealerships, where I think it was frowned upon more in a brand dealership. So
let's talk about some of your experiences in car sales in general, right? Let's talk about, I want to know, like, how many units were you moving at Atlanta Autos a month, roughly?
Well, it depends. I mean, there's a lot of factors. Season, the way, I don't know, whether it's an election year, the way the current situation is in the U.S. economically, but 20, 25 out a month when I was, full speed. And that's a lot of work. Even at Range Rover. Yeah, it's a lot of work. And it's not just work, it's the follow-up with your clients.
How many days a week were you there?
7 days a week.
They're open on Sundays?
Of course they are.
Whoa.
7 days a week. Even your day off when you're commissioned, like you like I said, it's a commission-based business. If your client calls you and it's your Sunday off, you're going. I'm going. I would never tell a client I'm not going to be there.
100% commission. So, you kill what you eat.
That's right.
So it's like you need to be there.
Yeah. So it's a commitment. Like, you're not doing 9 to 5 in a dealership. It's just not happening.
Let's just say there's some women out there watching right now, right? And your experience at Atlanta Autos, Land Rover, like, what is like a really good piece of advice that you would give them? Even some of the challenges that you might face being a woman in the industry, right? Like, but even if you discuss that, let's talk about how you overcame them and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Because because it's not easy. I'm gonna say
Oh,
that right now.
I know you've heard me ranting,
Oh yeah.
and we've had those late night phone calls because, yes, it is a male dominated field. Um, I can tell you what I feel that the advantage that I have, and that gives me my confidence. To
Mm-hmm.
any woman that wants to get in the field, we are natural nurturers,
100%.
and there are different situations. There were a lot of men that only want to deal with a female salesperson or a female broker because you don't have that alpha male competition from the
Right.
jump.
Right.
A male client, and because of that, a male client may be embarrassed to tell you, you know what, I don't have the money this month. It's going to hit me in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Where with me, they were more open, more trusting, and I would be, I think, more understanding.
Yeah.
Without putting down my guy brokers, but I know personal, like they're easier to
No,
sell.
the empathy is organic. I feel
Exactly,
like, right?
exactly. And then you've got those guys that think, all right, I'm going to go with a woman because she's dumb and she doesn't know anything about cars. They usually are surprised,
Mm-hmm.
but so there's different, um, I find women coming to me to buy cars.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. This is what I said on one of my podcasts.
Yes,
I said when
yes,
a woman works with a woman, it's like when you're out at a bar or a nightclub or something and you meet some girl for that same night and she's like, "Oh my God, let's go to the bathroom together."
yes, and
Right?
she's your best friend.
But then a guy will also trust a woman too. So it's a woman will trust a woman, like girl power type stuff, and then a man will trust a woman too. So it's
Exactly,
just you can work both sides really easily.
exactly. But I'm not going to tell you it was easy. I've had, I don't know, threats on my life. Brokers steal money from me. Brokers steal accounts from me. Unfortunately, not everyone has integrity in this business or any business, but I still believe more so in a commission based business.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get a salary.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I mean, it's vicious out there. And we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about $2, $3 million cars. They don't care if I'm a woman. They don't care if I'm a mother. It's like you're one of us. You put yourself here. It's every man for himself.
Right.
So for any woman that wants to get in the business, and I have women that are in the business at big brands,
Yeah.
we call each other and we support each other. I mean, every woman in this business is going through it.
That's pretty
But
cool.
I know where I put myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to change anything. I just want respect on my name.
Yeah.
I believe I've achieved that. I think everybody deserves that.
Yep.
So it's not easy though, but it's possible. And I make a very good living doing it, and I love what I do. So that's what's more important.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's interesting, right? Because there's a lot of things that women in the industry have to deal with that men don't have to at all. I mean, even from the flirtatious side of things, when clients try to hit on
All
you
the
and stuff
time.
like that, it's a very interesting world or waters you have to navigate. But it's all a learning lesson. I think that V is an incredible example of someone who didn't really know much about cars. She was just excited for it, and she figured out her own way to learn about it. So anybody that's watching out there, a woman that's watching out there that wants to get in the car business, or maybe they're thinking about it, V is walking proof of being able to make that happen. I mean, there's no better example because she just, she came from Saks. And this wasn't another example that I was talking about. Like on one of my other episodes, I was talking about how I used to work at Audi in Chicago. And there's actually a few women that work there that are still there and are very successful selling cars at Audi. This one that I met, she was a server at a restaurant, and the VP of that dealership just loved her personality,
Yeah.
her energy, and that's literally all you need, right?
That's it. Everything else you can learn.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the personality, the empathy, people are going, I mean, it's usually 99% of the time a happy occasion when someone buys a car, but sometimes it's not,
Yeah.
So when you have that empathy throughout whatever the client is bringing to you, because every customer is different, you're going to be successful. And even if it's not a car sale.
Yeah. I've said this too on another episode. I used to work at a very affluent exotic car dealership in Chicago, and the owner of that dealership I would watch him as he's interacting with some of these clients. He doesn't know a lot. Like he probably does now, obviously after years of being in the business. But when I was there were so many moments that I observed where he didn't know. Like a client would ask him a question about a car, he didn't know it. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll figure it out." And then one of the things he asked me before I left was, "What was one of the biggest lessons that you learned from here?" I was like, "It's not about the car. It's about the relationship."
It's
that
never about the car.
Right.
It's never about the car.
It's
And
never
once
about
you
the car.
realize that,
Yeah.
you're going to be successful.
100%.
I don't care if I sell a car.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I did not sell a car and something else came out of it.
Our relationship
Like,
is a
wait,
perfect example.
Yeah, I don't care about the car. It's about the relationship. I can't tell you how many cars I've sold and I didn't make any money.
Yeah.
But then they call me back and they're like, "Yo, V, I need this. My friend needs this."
Mm-hmm.
And then you start this relationship that ends up taking you don't know where. I was having dinner with 2 Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday night.
Are you serious?
And I'm like, how the hell did I get here? I swear, but
I feel like that happens to V a lot.
It does.
Like somehow she gets in these
It
situations.
does. I mean,
I'm just like,
I-
every time I meet her, she has a
I
new
know.
story, and I'm just like,
he doesn't
how
believe
did
me.
this even
He doesn't
happen?
believe me. I got to start screenshot. Like Mr. Beast people called me to do a deal last month.
No way.
I
didn't even know that.
Yeah. So that's what I love is every phone call, you don't know where you're going to end up.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just going. Let's see what's going to happen.
That's what she does. Like it's just like if you guys have the opportunity.
You never
to meet
believe
V,
me. I'm like, dude.
If you have the privilege to meet V, you will understand what I'm talking about. This woman gets in these situations, and I'm just like,
he doesn't.
wow.
You don't believe me, and I have to screenshot everything.
Yeah.
I have a huge deal going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Huge.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking double digits.
Huge.
Yeah, double M's. And he doesn't believe me. I have to screenshot everything because I can't believe it. I'm like, how is this guy paying me all this money? Or it's just, I don't know. It's just exciting.
We're talking about 8-figure deal, right?
Is that 8?
Yeah.
Yes.
8-figure deal.
Yeah. Like, I'm just through.
Like just sitting right
I know.
Here. This is like some history in the making type stuff, honestly.
But
we can't talk about it too much.
No, because again, another thing is absolutely, you have to respect the privacy of our clients.
Yeah.
When you're talking that kind of money, they can go anywhere. It's
no different than a real estate agent, right? Like you have fiduciary responsibility.
Absolutely.
And we don't sign anything like that.
Oh, I sign NDAs.
No, I know it's NDAs, but I'm saying like we're not getting a real estate license or anything like that to be a broker, but you have to still carry yourself that way.
I have a high school diploma.
Really?
I have a high school diploma. Nope.
I didn't either. I dropped out twice.
So it forces you, all right, I got to do something.
This is what I'd say about college, right? It's if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer of some type, yeah, go to college, get your degree, get a job, get the experience, right? But if you want to go into business for yourself or something, I don't know. I don't think college is really worth it.
I don't know either. Now, of course, my daughter's going to college next year. I don't want her to watch this, but yeah. And, I was invited.
What does she want to do? Do you know what she wants to do?
No, I don't know. She doesn't want to sell cars. That's for sure. But I was actually invited to speak at Clark University to a graduating class last year about women. Yeah, he didn't even know that either. So I was invited to speak at Clark University, and I told them, I said, listen, I'm not going to come here and promote a college degree because I don't have one. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I will come and tell your girls, you know what? It's okay.
Oh, it's a women's college.
It's a all women's college. It's okay if you don't make it. Sometimes things happen. Lives take over. You can't finish college. It's okay because I'm a shining example that if you're honest, a good person, determined and creative and believe in yourself that you can still make it. So no, just a high school diploma. And I you know me.
She figures out a way.
I figure out a way. And
what's your why, your daughter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know. I already know that.
Yeah, that's it.
I already know that.
That's
like it. She will claw and kill to make deals happen because it ultimately all.
Yeah, I mean, any mom would, probably any parent, but for me personally, it's and it's an example for her, so she knows too that You can do
You
anything.
can do anything.
You cannot
Exactly.
put yourself in a position.
So what are some of the, let's talk about some stories, right? Like let's talk about
Feel
some
good or bad? Like, oh
both.
my
Let's I want to hear some of like your craziest experiences
God.
in the world of selling cars, and I also want to hear, some things that just moved you internally, right? Like let's hear some stories. Let's hear like two or three stories.
All right, I'm gonna tell you feel good story.
Okay.
Um, I'm gonna start that. It was a dark and gloomy night, raining.
In
Like
Atlanta.
think of like Transylvania setting. Okay,
Okay.
it's Friday night. I'm in the process of selling a Wraith to a client in Florida, a young guy.
What year?
The Wraith, I think it was like a 2021 around there. It was a matte black with the red guts. Remember? So
Starlights.
Starlights. Who gets a Wraith without the stars?
Yeah.
So we're talking. It's pretty much a done deal. And I get a call Friday night. It's like 7:30 at night at the dealership. He's like, I'm on a plane. I'll be there in 2 hours.
At Atlanta Autos.
At Atlanta Autos.
Okay.
And I'm going to drive it back to Florida.
Okay.
So now I'm like,
where
great.
in Florida?
He lived in Rosemary Beach.
Okay.
Okay.
He's gonna drive it all the way back.
Yes,
to Rosemary.
and it is like torrential rainstorm. Like, okay. So now it's 7:30 at night. I'm at Atlanta Autos. He's going to be here at 9:30. Dealership closes at 9. But you know that there is no clock when you have a client flying in. Yeah. Zero.
So the owners and management was okay with staying open?
They were going to stay open for him. I mean, it was a done deal on a very expensive car. And of course, we go above and beyond there, which is what I liked.
Yeah.
The customer service was stellar. So he comes in, he gets here on 9:30ish, 10 o'clock. We're looking at the car and he wants to go on a test drive. Pouring rain. It's like January too. So we're cruising down the street and, he's driving, he's loving it. And I look at him and I notice he starts crying.
No way.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to end up in the trunk of this car. This is it. God's taking me. I'm going to be in Florida. So I said to him, I said, why are you crying?
You said that to him?
Yeah, like really, really like firm too. Because now I'm like, I don't know this guy.
What's going on? Yeah.
He flew in from Florida.
Was it kind of scary?
It was scary. And I can't tell you how many test drives. I don't know what he's going to do. What if he dumps me on the side of the road? So, by the grace of God, I've been safe. So he starts crying and I said, hey, what's going on with you?
Were you soft about it?
Of course. And that's where the compassion comes in. I mean, this guy's breaking down in front of me. Something's going on. And I want to know. I want to help him. Like, this is supposed to be a happy thing. Why are you crying?
Yeah.
So he said, V, if I tell you that 6 years ago, I was homeless, addicted to drugs on the streets of Nashville.
Wow. And
today I'm buying my first Rolls Royce.
That just gave me chills right now.
Tears. And I'm like, that's a moment. That's why I love what I do. When you sell a car to someone, especially a supercar, a hypercar, even a regular car to a first-time buyer, you become part of their fabric of their life. This kid will never forget me. He might not buy another car from me.
How old was he?
He was like 26 years old.
What?
Yes. So when you have someone, when they've come to a point in their life, I don't care if it's a midlife crisis.
Okay, so this guy was homeless. Like, what kind of business was he in?
What happened was he came out of this rehab. When he went into his rehab program, he met someone who had a similar story, who was in the medical business. I don't want to say what it was. I think it was like medical equipment or something. And he helped him. And he helped him become successful. And this kid was here, you know what? I'll take the roles. And then he wanted 2 AP watches too. So from there, boom, we go into the jewelry sales. And I call my guys at whoever I'm working with in Atlanta. And that's where you start that relationship. And then we were talking. I know he's married. He's going to have his baby. That's where you begin.
At 26.
Yes. And it's amazing. I mean, I've had stories, that have just, made me cry, and stories that have made me feel like,
Did you cry in that rape that day?
Oh yeah, we were hugging. It was great. It was just, it was something else. And I'm so glad to be part of that.
Wait, so someone that's like 26, right? how do you end up? At what point were you like, okay, this guy's business. This guy means business. Like he's really gonna make.
So those are things over the phone.
Uh-huh.
Those are little things that come with experience. When you start asking those hot button questions, you'll know from the way
Like
they're
what?
speaking. Like, he's looking for the Rolls Royce. We start talking. He knows a lot about the car. He's done his research in the car. This is not a guy that won a lottery.
What kind of questions do you ask to kind of pick and figure
To decide.
out?
So beginning is great. Yeah, you want to buy my $300,000 car. How are you planning on paying for this?
Okay.
Right from the jump. I'm not going to wait. I need to know. Are you paying cash? Are you coming with a bank check?
Okay.
Do you have a trade? Or are you financing with me?
Okay.
Right from the beginning.
Okay.
Because number one, I can show you all the cars in the world. If you want to finance and you're not approved, we're wasting my time and your time. And I don't want to break your heart. I'm going to show you.
That's a tricky area to navigate too, because there have been some people I'll ask that question to, and based on what they're telling me, I'll be a little bit like, dang, I don't know if this is going to happen or not. But then it ends up happening.
I've also had clients that were offended when I said, you know what, I need proof of funds if you want to drive a $300,000 car.
Well,
or
that's kind of fair.
They've blasted me on Instagram that I was, I don't know, whatever, because I'm sorry, you're not going to come and hop into a $300,000 car without us knowing that you have every intent of buying it.
So with this guy, did you know he was 26 when you were talking to him?
I did, yeah. I had his ID, I had everything. And then I start my research.
Okay.
So background checks, Google information, check the address on the IDs, and you know right there. I mean, if someone gives me an ID and it's like Unit 52 in an industrial center, I don't think he's buying a Bugatti.
Right.
Just saying.
Right.
So I knew about him. I learned about him. Of course, they're giving me financial documentation. I know what he's making a year. We know, okay, this is a solid buyer.
Okay.
And then we move on to the search for the car.
Okay. But you guys had the car there that he was.
Yeah, absolutely.
About.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and I think that's a huge point to anybody that's looking to get in the car business. It's interesting. You can't prejudge a lot of people.
Nope.
You'll be surprised. So when I was selling cars at Eurocar in Orange County, there were guys that come in with suits and a tie, and they try to look the part, like they're buying a Lambo or a Urus or a Lambo or Ferrari, whatever, right?
They usually have a girl with them.
They have a girl with
always
them, flex, right? And then they can't afford anything.
Unless she's co-signing.
Yeah, unless she's co-signing. That's it.
Just saying.
Hey, it happens.
Yeah.
But then it's the guy that comes in with like a wife beater and swim trunks and flip flops that'll buy the most expensive shit.
Every time, and that's why everyone gets equal treatment here.
Yeah.
Everyone.
100%.
They deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm not just like, oh my God, he might have money. I don't care.
Yeah.
But they deserve equal treatment. And when we go back to the women, for me, like I've had women call me and say, V, help me buy a car. There's a lot of situations how women who are divorced, who the male used to buy the cars, single moms who have to buy a car for their 16-year-old daughter, executives that are like, you know what, V, I don't have time for this. So there's just so much you can do, and so many different ways, so many things you can focus on to get your own audience.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. I love it. I can't explain it. And I can be anywhere. We can be anywhere. I've been in Greece on my phone selling cars.
Yeah.
I'm able to be with my daughter more. I'm able to be more with my family. I'm able to explore other things I might want to do. Cars,
especially with technology now.
Oh my gosh,
it's like it makes no sense.
It's nothing for us. Yeah. Again, though, you have to have that network.
Yeah.
You have to have integrity is everything. Don't screw someone on a deal. Excuse my French, but it's all about honesty. It's all about respect for your client that's bringing you, like I said, 10 grand or 2 million. Same thing to me. I don't care. I'm not impressed by money. I'm not impressed by people's names. I don't care. It's everyone gets the same treatment here. And I know you're the same way. So
yeah, no, exactly. It's when you first get started, it's hard because you might be surrounded by other people that might impress upon you to judge someone when they walk in. But I'm telling you right now, if you're getting started in this industry, just pretend like that never happened. Like literally those coworkers of yours that spit that kind of stuff onto you, you will shoot yourself in the foot.
And they do. There's a lot
of that's happened to me. I fell for it, and I got passed up on a deal to somebody else. And that one time that it happened, I was like, this is never happening.
Exactly. It only takes one time in this business. You're going to experience everything one time. And believe me, you're going to draw the line. I'm not going through that again.
If you really want to be successful in the business, you will draw that line.
And you keep, you stand on your convictions every time.
100%.
Every time is the only way you're going to be successful.
So then this guy ended up buying the Wraith.
He did. And he drove it back to Florida.
Drove it all the way
Yeah.
back. He came by himself?
Oh, and then he was like on the way. He's like, I need a radar. Literally cash app $1,000. Thanks, V. I need, so.
Laser jammer or something?
Yeah. I mean, but there's different things, that a client wants after that. And it's the after, so.
So have you heard from that guy since? Like, have you?
Yeah, we've been in touch. He hasn't bought any more cars, but I know that I'm on his roster. When he's looking for a car, he's going to call me, whether it's, hey, I'm ready to get out of this now and move into another one. That to me is the biggest compliment, is when a client calls me back when they're ready to trade out, get a new car, refer me to someone. That's all I want. Like, just,
all right. Any other crazy stories? Like,
my God.
I want to know a crazy story.
Oh,
like, even if it's kind of like, what the heck?
Oh, dear Lord. My God. I mean, I was traveling, I guess it would be, I don't even know. I don't even know which names I can say right now.
No, don't
can
say
I
names.
say this?
Don't say names.
Because there's, my client list. Like, I don't even know if I can even.
No, don't mention names. Just talk about the scenario.
I don't know. Okay. Latest scenario, I had to fly down to Miami. This was when the Cyber Beast, I got the first Beast that landed in the United States for sale. Okay. These Cyber trucks, I sold to the wholesaler that put them, the first ones at auction. I was very deep into this, and I'm talking, this was months and months ago. Not
I already know who you're talking about.
So, literally, we found a Beast. This was in the beginning. Flew down to Miami, was picked up in a Cullinan by these other brokers that I didn't know that had flown in from California. We go down to an undisclosed location in Miami to look at this Cyber Beast. Which,
this is what I'm talking about.
The guy didn't even know it wasn't a Cyber Beast. It was a regular Cyber truck. And I'm like, all right, like, why are we even here? So,
wait, it wasn't a Cyber Beast?
No, he didn't know. I flew down to Miami to go, and my guys were coming from California. I've got Russian brokers coming from California, me coming from Georgia, and we, trek out.
Wait, why are all of these guys coming to Miami?
Because we needed this car. I mean, it was
so
the
all
first
three of y'all
Beast.
were like competing against this car?
No, I found the car and they had a buyer.
The Russian brokers.
Correct.
Got it.
So we all met down there, and it wasn't even.
So you guys, the Russian brokers from California, you were in touch with them, I'm guessing through Facebook or social media or something.
Exactly.
Right? And you're like, okay, we're all going to go to Miami. We're going to make this deal happen. That's when they met you. That's when they picked you up from the airport. And you'd never met
strangers. And then we ended up, hey, you know what? Let's go have some hookah. And
why the hell did you sign up for that?
I don't know. It was great, though.
That's what I'm talking about. She has zero fear.
It was great.
She just does.
Yeah.
That's what I think. That's your superpower.
Listen, I cannot sit at a desk. I'm sorry. There's just no way. So you've got to get out there.
You know what her mindset is she'll do some stuff like that, and she'll be like, whatever happens. I'm here for the ride, even if it goes down.
It is, it's going to go down in flames, but I'm going to have fun doing it.
Okay, so you land in Miami, you get picked up in a Cullinan.
And then, it was just, like I said, going to the location. I'm sitting in this car, like, who are these people? I don't know where I'm going. It's just this natural, when you're in this business and you automatically, like you said, have that, it's organic with another broker. We just linked. And then from there was, I need a Koenigsegg. I need to export 2 more to Dubai, and then we just started working together, and you're expanding your network, into different things that they're doing.
So you knew someone that had that Cyber Beast, and then you told these guys about it?
I said, hey, let's meet down there, because they wanted to buy it, and I had the car. So that's where So
the brokers bought the car to then sell to their client. Got it.
Correct. But they were exporting.
So let me ask your opinion on this. What are your thoughts on electric cars in today's market? Because, like the Taycans and stuff like that.
Don't ask me. I can't stand them. I think it is
Really?
Absolutely. I think it's a... it's a scam. You can't tell me an electric car that weighs 6,000 pounds, it's like 4 times a regular car, to produce that, to break it down, to get rid of it is going to be beneficial to this earth or any other planet. So I'm not
like, what's
buying
gonna
into
happen
that.
when these cars get totaled and the batteries that are in
You
them are
can't.
full of lithium ion?
You
What are you gonna
can't.
do?
You can't.
Dump them in a landfill?
You've
somewhere?
seen them burning. You cannot extinguish these cars. Cars catch on fire all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. It's just my personal preference. Number one, because I love loud cars. I love fast cars.
Yeah.
I think it's taking away from the integrity of this machine.
Mm-hmm.
It was never built to be electric. It was never built. I don't think an electric car is an automobile.
Do you think that's just because do you think that's just because manufacturers haven't figured it out? Do you think it's because these first iteration of these cars, the first thing is range anxiety? You know what I mean? Because some of these cars are, 200, 250
Correct.
miles.
It definitely takes discipline. When you commit.
Every single time I talk to a client about an electric car, I'm like, look, when was the last time you drove 250 miles in one day? You're not going to buy this car to plan to take it on a long trip. And honestly, the clients that are buying these cars, if they're going somewhere beyond 250 miles, they're booking a flight. And that's number one. Number two, you got to think about it as if you have a gas station in your garage that you're plugging your car into every evening.
It takes so much discipline, Ro.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of discipline. Personally, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing all that work. I'll tell you, I have an example, meeting some friends down at a casino out of state. He got lost, whatever. We get to the casino. He's got a plug in his car. We go to leave. He's got no juice, has to drive the opposite way.
He's like, wait, everybody.
To another state. And I'm like, I just filled up my Porsche and I have 500 miles. See you later. Like, I'm not working that hard. Yeah. I'm not. And I just don't. I think I'm not knocking it. I mean, if you like it, great. But for me, a combustible engine, the performance of a car with that being a factor is different. The experience is different. I just don't think it's going to happen. They're trying to push this agenda, and real car connoisseurs, real car people, and believe me, there are some real car people. I'm talking with millions of dollars in their collections, upwards of 25, 30 million. Nobody cares. They're not even going to touch an electric car.
Yeah.
Now, for everyday use, your daily, it depends. I mean, if you're driving around and you have to have an EV for a daily and it makes sense, yes. Personally, I don't think that everything's going to go electric. I think it's impossible, but you never know. I'm seeing a lot of things. So.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, when these electric cars first started coming in, and some of my clients that might be watching this, they know that if they came in and tried buying an electric car from me, I said, you need to lease this thing, because
the value.
Let the manufacturer deal with whatever potential depreciation is going to happen, because these are not cars anymore. I'm talking about this is no different than your cell phone.
That's all it is.
Right? Every year there's going to be a new version with more miles on the range as the technology improves.
Correct.
All of that. So if you're buying an electric car, I would say if you're going new, lease it. If not, buy one that's 2 to 3 years old. Like these Taycans.
Oh my God, they tanked like
Taycans brand new.
I don't even want to tell you what I just got offered yesterday and bought a Cybertruck at. $97,000.
A beast or a foundation?
Regular. A Foundation Series delivery miles for $97,000.
That $97,000 is the base without any options. And I'm assuming this had some options on it too.
And now remember, back in January, I paid the most for a Cybertruck, one of the first ones. I paid $90,000 over sticker.
Oh,
so we went from $90,000 over sticker, and that lovely couple is very happy, to I don't even know if 97 is at MSRP or below. And we're talking in a period of 6 months.
So what was the MSRP on that Foundation?
I guess they're 99. I mean, that's where they were.
Kind of like the ballpark.
Yeah. The Foundation, it's 70 something, 20 grand was the Foundation package on it. Right. Which now they're taking it off and coming back with the $78,000, $79,000 trucks. But remember when they first landed, it was all overage. It was $90,000. Then I paid $70,000 over. Imagine buying a car and then I buy it from you and give you $90,000. And that's what happened to a couple in California that sold me their car, and they love me. But
you sold that?
I bought their Cybertruck.
Oh, got it.
And
flipped it.
But I paid them $90,000 over what they bought it for. And then I flipped it and still made money.
Oh my
God.
God.
And then they flipped it and made even more. So it's a process.
I mean, the Cyber Beast is a whole different story because of how unique it is and all that.
I see that the foundations, the regular Cybertrucks are a lot more popular than the Beast. Nobody really cares about the Beast.
Yeah.
But I'm
Oh,
seeing that with
really?
all cars. What I'm seeing now is all these kits, 1016. If you look at, I don't know, what else, Brabus, V Series, anything that's an uptick of a regular model or base
Mhm.
model, it's
Like
just not
aftermarket?
it's not getting the money
Oh,
anymore.
no.
Nobody
Anytime,
cares.
no,
So that
anytime you do,
Beast,
yeah.
so that Beast that warranted another 30,000, nobody cared.
About
Why
the
would
power, that extra power that you get?
I mean, you know how fast
Because
the
the reason why
Cybertruck
the
is?
reason why you're buying a Cybertruck is because it's so unique and it looks cool. You're not really buying it because you care
You can
about
make it look cool. Put the big wheels on it. You know how fast the
rapid.
Cybertruck is? It's science. It's a light switch.
Yeah.
So you're going to get the same speed with the Cyber Beast. I mean, it's not towing. It's a
Mhm.
tri-motor, yes, but I would see it as 3 more problems that I want
Right.
because
No, what I was saying was like some of these Taycons that are were brand new at like 120, 130. They're like 70 grand now, 60, 70
yeah.
grand now.
And
Pre-owned.
showing you that, I feel like the world's not buying it. This big push to
The
go
market
EV.
is speaking to it, yeah.
Or it's for vehicles that aren't exotics or hyper or supercars, but I can't imagine a 911 EV.
You don't think so?
I mean, I
That's what
know
the next ones are
that's
coming.
what they're saying, but I know right now I've had like allocations for the electric G-Wagon, the G63.
I mean, look at what happened to the SF90.
No one wants the electric G-Wagon. You've got the number one
Nobody wants the
selling
electric
car.
G-Wagon?
Number one selling car, probably. We know in our business, everybody wants a
Yeah.
G. And it's EV, and nobody wants to touch it.
But everybody wants a G because of that V8. You know, they want a G63 AMG because of
And
the
you've
sound
driven
of it.
them, and
Oh,
I've
yeah.
driven them, and there's no comparison. So when you get into an electric G63, who wants to do that?
Okay, now what are your thoughts on like the Rolls-Royce Spectre then? Because that poses an interesting scenario.
Combination.
Because when you get in a Rolls-Royce, you escape from the world.
Correct.
And you don't hear anything around
Correct. And that it gives you a cocoon-like feeling if you've driven one or
Right.
ridden one, and I have.
Yeah.
It is definitely serenity on wheels.
Correct.
But I just don't like EVs, so I would rather have an old Wraith than a brand new Spectre.
But you're not buying the Rolls to hear the motor and stuff like that. You know
I don't
what I
know.
mean? Like you're buying it because
I don't know.
Okay, now let's talk about this. So when the SF90s came out, right? They were in the ballpark of 600, upper 600s to 700s MSRP. Now they're in the 500s.
What are you talking about? I'll show you what they sent me today.
Or high fours.
Probably even less.
But one thing I think that is affecting that is the 296. The 296 that Ferrari came out with, it's significantly a lot less than an SF90, and it's marginally slower than an SF90.
Well, the SF90s, I believe it was a requirement to buy that car in order to get, what's the new one coming out?
The new one that's coming out, or you mean the 296?
There's another unit coming out. I have to go through my phone.
I forgot the name.
I want to say a 5 something. So Ferrari is very unique. You know how they are. They make you buy stuff. You got to buy 2. Yeah. I mean, you got to buy 2 of their cars. So a lot of people got stuck with these SF90s, and they're way back. Like I've seen 150, 200,000 off MSRP, which is unheard of for Ferrari.
But when they first came out, they were touching $1 million.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Okay, so the reason why I'm bringing this up is because now I want to ask you about the Revuelto. What are your thoughts on that with the way the SF90 happened? Because here's what I'm wondering, right? What I'm wondering is the Revuelto is the replacement for the Aventador. So that's a long time coming to see a change, and now they finally put a dual clutch transmission in the car, which was the biggest gripe about the Aventador, and it's also a hybrid motor. But I'm kind of like as much as I'm like cheering for Lamborghini, I'm a little nervous just because I don't know. I mean, I was even watching a video.
Well, you know they have a recall on them before you can even take possession of the car.
What are you talking about?
They have a recall on the Revueltos.
What do you mean?
There's a recall, and they have to fix it before they deliver the car.
Really?
Don't ask me. I'm not a mechanic, but
About
yes.
The details? Yeah.
Yes. So there's been a couple that have come into my lap. There's a very high demand for them right now. As you know, every first one out, here we go.
And
We're selling.
Those are touching like 900 too, right?
Easy. Online for $1 million. Same with the Puro Sangue. Online for $1 million. Soon as, who was it? Ronaldo came out. He was driving his Puro Sangue. Next day, I probably had 15 people asking me, you got a Rari truck? And that's what happens.
Yeah.
And they're listed for $1 million. You can go on websites right now and see them.
The Puro Sangue.
Puro Sangue. Revueltos, high 8s, high 800s. Now I wholesale, so that's a different number, which, you know, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot. You don't
Are
need
you
to know
wholesaling and retailing, or like a little bit of both?
So I'm mostly wholesaling. However, I do have private clients that I do broker for. Absolutely.
Okay, got it.
I still have private clients that'll call me and say, V, I need a car. And I absolutely. I'm not retailing as if sitting in a store for 10 hours and answering phones. And I'm fortunate enough that I tried as much as I could to get away from a desk. So, and it worked for me. I'm not saying it works for everyone, but I'm not sitting per se in a store selling a retail car. If I have a client, of course, I will get it wholesale and relay that cost savings to them as much as I can. Of course, I don't have the inventory a retail store does, or the attraction, or, you know, the feel good moment, but, you know.
Right. And what made you get into the wholesale side?
So how did I do that? Okay, so let's talk about, we're going to touch, I know maybe you don't want to touch on it, but this is really how I got into it, and it's Facebook.
No, we can touch on that.
Okay. So, you know, I'm going to try to recall, someone had referred, why do I think you gave me that page on Facebook?
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm not going to advertise it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had told me because I think I was selling. I had bought an AMG GTR and I wanted to list it for sale.
Right.
And Rose like, hey, go to this page. So I get on this page and I'm looking around. I'm like, what is going on here? There are cars. There are people talking. They're excited about cars. There's all kinds of deals. I'm looking at this prices and I said, wait a minute. So I started learning there, reading the comments, figuring out who are the big dogs in here. What are they doing? What are they bidding on these cars? How do I bid on a car? How do I know what a car's worth? So that's where I kind of started. Along in that journey, I actually was introduced to, oh my God, some guy commented on a video that I did for Atlanta Autos.
Okay.
And he said, who wants to buy a car from a woman who looks like a penguin?
Oh.
You remember this story?
I remember you
I called him. I said, who the hell are you calling a penguin? And he's like, you seriously called me? I said, yes, because publicly, you know, you're insulting me. So we start talking. This guy's from New York. He ends up telling me I know Post Malone's dad and we have some cars for sale. And that's how I bought a couple of Escalades from Post Malone.
What?
Because
you confronted this guy that was talking smack about.
But wait a minute. He ended up going sideways and disappeared, and I needed to get this car.
Okay.
So I looked at the name on the title. Of course, it wasn't Post Malone. It's the business partner.
Sure.
So I find the name, and I'm Googling. I know the state, and I know the guy's name. I pull up. I said, you know what? This looks like it. I had addresses and stuff. I called the number I found. I did a background check. I end up getting his wife. Very touchy subject also for a woman in business. So I'm like, look, I apologize. My name is so-and-so. I'm in a business.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Listen. And I'll tell you what happened from there. I'm in a business transaction with your husband. It's imperative that I speak to him. So then he calls me. We get all the information done. The deal was done smoothly. He said, how the hell did you find my wife's phone number? I said, listen, when I give someone my word that I'm going to get something for them, and I've already sold this Escalade, I need to get the title. I said, I'm going to get it. So I do apologize. I hope it wasn't an issue. He's like, you know what? I want you to work for me.
Dang.
And that's how I started wholesaling for Post Performance.
Wow.
So like I would find cars,
and Post
find a buyer.
Performance is there.
Is Post Malone's dad is involved with that, and my investor. So
wow.
from there, they ended up buying Donald Trump's Lamborghini, and in January I was on stage selling it with them for $1 million at Barrett Jackson on my birthday. So
how do I even explain who V is other than that?
It's crazy. Those are the things. I believe a lot of it has to do with my age. I'm not a 20-year-old hotshot like you. I'm older. I believe I've had a lot more experience in other things.
Mm-hmm.
I've lived in Europe for 15 years, languages, cultures, and they're all
It
all ties in. I mean, I can speak to you in Urdu. I can say something in Russian. I can say something, in Greek, in Italian. Find something. And this is the connection that you get with your clients. And I've just had a wonderful experience with them. Mm-hmm. Just so much fun.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I think it's a interesting journey that, V has been on. I'm interested to see what comes next. I mean, already some crazy stuff happening right now.
Yeah.
I mean, even as we speak, some crazy stuff's happening. So I guess I could say this. So let's say that you had this kind of like a closing out question that I got. So you have a 4-car garage. Okay. You got a 4-car garage, and those are the only 4 cars you can choose. You have a budget of, let's say, no budget. Let's just say no budget.
Yeah.
Okay. What cars are you choosing?
All right. So for my daily, I would have a GT3. Porsche 911 GT3.
Wow, I didn't expect you to say that.
In Ruby Star.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Yes. See? Okay. You think you know me.
Like the 992, like the latest
yes,
one? Okay. GT3.
Yes.
Not RS.
No RS. I don't need that.
Okay.
It's not good for Atlanta if I have an RS. For my going out at night, I would definitely want a Cullinan.
What color?
Probably a blue shadow. I want like a different one, like one of 62. I'd want something nice. Sorry, I don't have a budget.
No, you're good. What about the interior?
Well, they only come. It's standard interior, but they don't only have stars. They have like planets on the ceiling. Oh, okay. So if you're going to do a Cullinan.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay. So I've got my Cully. I've got my 911. Then I would want, I like an S550 coupe, the 2-door.
Ooh. See, but they ended those in 2018.
But I still would buy one.
I
just
the coupe or the cab?
The coupe V12. Ooh. It's a rocket. Ooh. You already know. And then I don't know. Do I need an SUV?
Not like a Dawn instead of the S550. You'd still want the S550.
I like that car a lot. Okay. It's different.
I think it's 5.
I still have another car to pick.
Yeah.
All right. And then I would want. What else do I want? You know what I really love? And I guess if I had to do exotic, like hyper exotic, I guess I would like a. I love Aventadors, but
wait, before you say it,
I like the Countach. I do. So.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, let's say it at the count of 3, and we say it at the same time.
Okay, no. Rock, paper, scissors. I like the Countach. It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to sell one, and it's just.
No one has it. I've never even seen one in person.
Oh, I'll show you some pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've seen pictures, but I want to see one in person.
Maybe the S550. No, I would probably do like a 750. I'd do a McLaren in there too. So 911, a Cullinan, a McLaren, 765.
765. Oh,
yeah.
Now we're talking.
And there you go. And then what was the last one?
But if you have the GT3,
that's my daily.
The GT3 is your daily?
Yeah, and then when I need doors up, I'm taking the McLaren when I really want to piss someone off. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
but I don't know if I'll ever get there, but
I
don't know.
What do you mean you won't ever get there?
Listen, when you're in this business.
Ever
I know, but I don't know if I want to be there. Because what happens in this business is we get so jaded by everything. It's just a car. And I don't like that.
I know you get
I'm not
desensitized.
impressed. You
get
do. How many
desensitized.
times have you gone shopping? I go shopping and I'm like, do I want this? I don't know, a Rolex. It's really 3 car deals. And I shop like that. That's not healthy.
How many car deals?
Yeah, I calculate everything as to how many cars do I have to sell so I can buy this. And that's not good.
I mean, I feel like that's with anything though. I mean, if you're working a salary, you're like, oh, this is like a month's worth of work.
I understand, but you know that month's work of work for someone can be with us selling 1 car.
Mm.
And that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Because we start spending.
Mm-hmm.
You can sell a car and make, depending, I mean.
Wait, before we close out, let's touch on that real quick. Like being financially responsible as you're selling cars, because you said it kind of earlier on in the podcast that, you have cycles, right? Economically,
right now,
happening.
Yeah, it's dead now.
It's dead now. I mean, interest rates, which is huge right now. So what has been your strategy to kind of keep yourself coasting through that? Because what I've always said is when you're in the highs of the market, don't act like that's going to be forever and blow all your money.
And I'll give you an example. I was talking to my partner that we're brokering this 8-figure deal, whatever. Is it 8 figures? Count them. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I already told him, put that on the back burner, because anybody else would be like, we got it made. This guy's going to pay me $1 million for selling this car. We don't even look at that. I said, next, what are we looking for?
Right.
That's in the back burner. I said, well, let's go. We've got more deals, because you'll have 10 deals going and one of them will work.
Right.
And you're doing all that work for one deal and you know it. Mm-hmm. So even in the bad times, you work harder. You start looking at more cars. You start looking at more clients. Mm-hmm. You start searching more, because it's going to be twice as hard to get that deal. It's already hard.
Yeah.
I've got brokers like you, and all these guys on Instagram and all. They're all our competition. Mm-hmm. So you better be ready for these times here too as well.
No, yeah, you have to be a bit stoic through the process, right? You can land a big deal, but you can't just rest on your laurels after that. You have
Absolutely
to keep pushing
not.
the gas.
I mean, this deal right now is going to be life-changing for me.
No, 100%.
But I'm still.
Where's the next one?
Exactly. Yeah. I'm still looking at another deal right now. We're looking at an F8 I'm trying to get done.
Yeah.
Which might not even pay me, because I really want to make my customer happy. So I might not take any money, but I know he's going to buy 10 more cars from me.
Right.
So once you find that.
Yeah, it's not just that one deal a lot of the times.
It's the relationship. It's never the one deal. It's never the car.
Right.
It's never the car. It's your client. Yeah. It's both clients. Protect the integrity of the seller and protect the integrity of the buyer. Mm-hmm. This is all it's about.
Right.
The car, you can find one anywhere all over the planet when you have clients that trust you and come back to you, and you can foster a relationship with them.
Yeah.
It's never about the car. Once you realize it's not about the car and it's about the people, you're going to be successful. That's my successful plan.
Boom.
So
there you have it, guys. Supercars V on Instagram. Is it cars or car?
Cars with an S, plural.
Okay. Supercars V on Instagram. Go give her a follow.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you on here. I'm looking forward to some more, hopefully, in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys follow us on Instagram too, Exotic Auto Trade. Mine is ro.siddiqui, SIDDIQI. Everything's going to be in the bio. But if you're a client out there that needs a luxury or exotic car sold, or if you're in the market for one, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll be able to help you get that car, get your car sold. And we got a lot of exciting things that are underway to be able to make that happen and building a brand around this. So thanks for watching. If you stayed this into the podcast, and we look forward to see you on the next one. Peace.